Hello, I'm going to be conducting an EBM query in Medline for scenario 1 and in PubMed for scenario 2. Clinical scenario 1 deals with in teens trying to quit smoking, is cognitive behavior therapy, CBP, more effective than nicotine replacement therapy? And in scenario 2, we are dealing with why would vaccinating the children with MMR vaccine cause autism? When you look at scenario 1, it has to do with a therapy. So it's a therapeutic question trying to compare two therapeutics. While scenario 2, when you look closely to it, it's more of an etiological question. Is vaccination with AMR an underlying factor that causes autism? So ideally, I'm going to go to university libraries. Here, when I click university libraries, I'll check databases and this window will pop up, and in under databases for query 1 we are going to use Medline. I'll open Medline. I click Medline, this shows up, and now in Medline I'm going to search my query 1 using the meshes. So my key terms in query 1 are quit smoking. So I'm really interested in quit smoking. I'm going to copy it and put it in, try to search it as a mesh and see what it brings back. So when I search quit smoking, the closest I'm getting out of it is smoking cessation. So I would like to check what smoking cessation has. I can check the scope to see what exactly they are talking about in smoking cessation. And you can see there's nothing under smoking cessation. It's basically just it. So trying to see what I can get under smoking cessation. I'm having giving up smoking. I'm having all that smoking quitting and all that. So I'm going to go ahead to, it's already selected. Since there's nothing below, I may not need to explode. So I'm going to go to continue. I'm going to go to continue, and when I go to continue, definitely the next window that will pop up is where I'll have to select headings, but I'm not going to restrict myself to anything, so I'll just go to continue such that I don't miss out any article. So I go to my next mesh that I'm trying to identify, which is cognitive behavior therapy. I'm going to take this into Medline 2, cognitive behavior therapy, and try to search it as a mesh, and it pops up. This is what I'm having, cognitive behavior therapy. Try to click on it to see what comes out in the mesh tree. And as you can see, we are having something under cognitive behavior therapy. So let me go ahead and look at the scope to see what it's bringing back. I'm looking at the different previous indexing, behavior therapy cognitive. They're trying to describe that it's a directive of psychotherapy based on interpretation of situations and all that. So I want to look at all the other meshes that come under it. I'm looking at acceptance commitment, cognitive therapy. I might need that. I'm looking at cognitive reconstructive next. Cognitive reconstructive, a technique of cognitive therapy. I might need that too. If I look at mindfulness, let's see what mindfulness has. Psychological state of awareness, practices promote awareness, a model of processing information, and character as a trait, cognitive therapy. If you see the previous indexing. So I'm going to go ahead and explode anything that's below cognitive therapy, which will include these other meshes below. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with that. I'm not going to limit any headings, so I'll just continue, and that comes back. Then my next one is nicotine replacement therapy. Nicotine replacement therapy. I'm going to go ahead and search for nicotine replacement therapy. Yeah, and it comes back as this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And as you can see, in nicotine replacement therapy, I'm having 22 articles coming back, but I'm gonna check the scope to see what I'm getting. I'm having tobacco smoking cessation, tobacco use cessation, tobacco use cessation devices, and I can remember I have seen tobacco cessation devices somewhere here, so I'm gonna go and check the scope of tobacco cessation therapies and nicotine replacement therapy. So it's kind of meaning the same thing. I don't want to miss that, so I'm gonna go ahead and select it too. So I'm gonna go to continue, see what I can get back. So I'm having tobacco cessation devices on nicotine replacement therapy. That's what I'm having. So I'm gonna combine all of these using AND to see what I'm getting. I'm getting around 66 articles for my EBM. Now I'm gonna put my limits. This is not the end. So to put my limits, I'm supposed to do this search in teens. I'm gonna go on additional limits and check for the age groups. So teenagers are definitely between 13 to 18 years of age. So I select the age groups. I'm gonna go on clinical queries. I'm gonna put I'm gonna go to therapy. I want to select maximize the sensitivity because it's gonna bring back more articles than maximize the specificity, though it can also work. So for specificity, I'm definitely going to be getting more of randomized clinical trials, but for sensitivity, I'm going to be getting even broader results that also to do with systemic reviews. So when I first check sensitivity, let's see how many articles we are getting for sensitivity. So it does my search. I'm getting around 8 articles. Let's first browse through them and see. We are having extended treatment for cigarette smoking cessation. This is a randomized clinical trial. We are having a study protocol for a randomized clinical trial, another randomized clinical trial, another clinical trial. So most of these are conducted among under clinical trials. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So I'm going to try out, if I want to try out the specificity aspect to see primarily the randomized clinical trial. As I said, I'm going to go back and add limits to section 4 only. I selected display results for section 4, and I'm going to go ahead to look for additional limits. Again, I'm going to limit myself to the teenagers 13 to 18 years of age. And in clinical queries, I want to look for therapy. I'm trying to look for specificity. I'm going to go ahead and apply those limits. So as you can see, only 5 results came back. As you can see, only 5 results did come back. Clinical trials, it's another clinical trial, another clinical trial. So mostly I'm having clinical trials coming back for that. And for the sensitivity, it was 3 extra ones that are probably not clinical trials, could be systemic reviews. And yeah, that's how you do an EBM for using Medline for our first query. And under the PICO aspect, P in this case are our teens or adolescents. I being our intervention is this the CB is the CBT, or what they are calling the cognitive behavior therapy, and our comparison is the NRT, the nicotine replacement therapy, and our outcome is cessation of smoking, our smoking cessation. So with that, we would have conducted our expensive EBM. So we're going to see how we can carry out another search, another EBM search using PubMed. Thank you.